Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd family part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. Let me move that mic back a little bit so that I don't hide my beautiful face for everybody to see. First, I want to say happy birthday to my grandpa, which I always called a papa on my mother's side. He would be 84 years old today if he was still around. So I know it's going to be a hard day for my grandmother. He's been gone for almost 3 years now. But secondly, I want to say that since it's a Wednesday, it's time for another weekly top 10 countdown. This one is strictly college football based, and it's strictly my opinion. Most of my top 10 countdowns are articles that I get from magazines, newspapers, anything. But this one is strictly my opinion. And I want to go ahead and do this now before the season starts. And I know technically the season started this past Saturday, but none of those teams are going to be on this list. Plus, in my opinion, the season starts tomorrow night. But it is the BT Top 10 heading into the season. Now, again, this is strictly based on talent. I don't do my opinions and countdowns on teams based on what you did last year. To me, last year is absolutely irrelevant because some teams can bring back the same players, or basically the same players, and just not be as good, and it goes that way sometimes. So I don't rate teams based on how good or bad they were last year. I rate teams based on the talent you have this year. And number 10 is Liberty. Now, they're not going to get the credit they deserve because their schedule is absolutely awful. There's a chance they could go 12-0, and if another group of 5 team goes 11-1 or maybe even 10-2, they may finish ranked higher than Liberty and get the at-large group of 5 bid over Liberty because of their schedule, because Liberty's schedule is awful. But their quarterback is probably one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Their coach is the most underrated coach in America. So talent-wise, Liberty is number 10. Number 9 is Miami. Now, I've said here on this channel the last 3 years that Miami has been awful. A lot of people have been buying into the Miami hype because of certain media people that say, oh, the U is back, but if you fell for that, that's on you. But this year, talent-wise, they're an amazing team. And if they win 10 games, it wouldn't surprise me at all. In fact, I expect them to win 10 games. I think the ACC championship game will be Miami and Clemson, who is number 8 on my BT Top 10 heading into the season. Number 7 is Utah. Now, Utah's in a brand new conference this year. We still don't know about their quarterback. Seems like he's been hurt since about 1982. But they keep telling us he's going to be back. If he's finally back, then we'll see Utah live up to their potential. Number 6 is Alabama. Alabama's still good. They're just not the Alabama of old, but they're still going to be a really good football team. Again, 10 through 6 is Liberty, Miami, Clemson, Utah, and Alabama. And this is the BT Top 10 heading into the season because it gets underway tomorrow night. Number 5, Ole Miss. Ole Miss will still this year probably not be talked about as much as they should be because who talks about a team in Mississippi, but they will get more hype than another team in Ole Miss would get from years past because they're coached by Lane Kiffin, and everybody loves talking about Lane Kiffin, good or bad. Number 4, Texas. Texas would be higher, but they're still going to be fine because Steve Sarkisian is their coach, and they've still got a chance to win the national championship, but they've lost their top 2 running backs, and I think that is something because that was 2 talented players that are gone for the season. But Sarkisian's still there. They'll be fine, but if you're going to rank a top 10 based on talent, you've got to knock down a team who's lost 2 of their best players. Number 3, Oregon. Number 2, Georgia. And number 1, Ohio State. Now, I've said here on this channel since about the middle of June that the best 2 teams in the country to me are Ohio State and Georgia. That's based strictly on talent. That doesn't mean that either one of them wins a national championship because sometimes talent doesn't matter. The team just doesn't gel. The coach makes a buffoon call. It can happen. But you miss a field goal late in the game, it costs you a win. But just strictly based on talent and talent alone, the best 2 teams in the country are Ohio State and Georgia. I've got Ohio State higher than Georgia because, for one, I think their talent is just a little bit better. For 2, Georgia lost their best player who they built their team around, which was, of course, Brock Bowers. He's gone now. He's been your best player for 12 years. You built your offense around him. He's not there anymore, and Georgia was better last year than they are this year, and last year's team wasn't good enough to make the playoffs. So if I don't think you're as good as you were last year and you lost your best player and last year's team wasn't good enough to make the playoffs, then I'm not going to all of a sudden come back and say you're the best team in America. Now, number 2 still not bad because if you're one of the 2 best teams in America, then you would play for the national championship if everything goes the way it should go. But I don't think Georgia goes undefeated. I don't think Georgia goes 11-1. But I still think they're the second best team in America heading into the season. But based on talent and talent alone, they lost their best player. They're not as good as they were last year. And last year's team wasn't good enough to make the playoffs. So going into the season, I would say you didn't have a chance to win the national championship. But this team can get much, much better as the season progresses. But as of right now, they're not the best team in America. Any thoughts on any of this, please feel free to let me know. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. I dated a girl with a wooden leg until she broke it off. And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.